Hey, good day, everybody. Welcome back to our Chavruta sessions live from Jerusalem with Rabbi Chaim Goldberg of the Noahide World Center. The rabbi messaged me a couple of minutes ago. I'm just waiting for him to open the Zoom meeting. So we'll give him a few more minutes, and he sent me a message. So, yeah. Oh, he's just logged in. So, okay. I'm going to. Shalom, Rabbi. I'm already live on social media, so lots of text messages coming through always before class. If you're there, we can turn the class over to you, sir.
With my computer, so in a moment it's also going to go up on the computer, but we can try to start. Yes, it's okay. Let's try.
Okay, yeah, we can hear you just fine, Rabbi. You're live on the air. You're streaming well. I'm catching you well, except you're in a horizontal fashion. I don't have you widescreen, but that's okay.
This way it's better. No, you can't.
That's better. Well, it was better for broadcast, but yeah, okay. We'll turn the class over to you, Rabbi.
Another 2 minutes. Another few minutes. Okay, just a moment. Let me try this. Good evening, everybody. Just a moment. Can you? Okay. I'm not sure that you can see me. You will. Okay. Good enough. Here it is now. Because it's on this. Maybe now it will work here also. My audio is better now. I see I have a lot of problems. Just a moment. Let's see what's happening. Okay, good evening. The truth is that I prepared something very unique. Now it will work, I think, much better than everything else.
Recording in progress.
Looks like we just lost the rabbi.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. Can you see me now?
No. Yes, that's better, Rabbi. But your voice is a lot lower. But your video is better, but your audio is worse. But that's okay. I always.
This one,
yeah, it's streamable. It's okay.
Now it's okay. Now it's better.
A little bit, yeah, good enough. Good as usual. So good to see you. How is everything in Jerusalem? How's the feeling with the Iran issue?
So good evening, everybody. I'm sorry for the lateness and the technical problems, but we will manage everything. We'll manage Iran, so we'll also manage technical problems. Everything is fine. We a bit, with a high level of spirit because we did knock down Iran. We did it. On the other side, it's not easy because we didn't finish with Gaza. But the situation here is much, much better than what we had in the beginning of the war. For example, in Lebanon, they didn't got involved in this war at all. And they have a lot of missiles, but they are afraid. And after we knocked them down also, if you remember with the beepers and all those things that we did, something like 7 months ago, and most of their 4,000 people, their leaders, whatever it is, got killed, lost their eyes, whatever it is, everything that happened to them in 2 minutes, okay, that we did to them. So they're afraid today, and they didn't got involved. In Syria also, we have different people there that are not giving or not letting the Iranian people to bring missiles from Iran to Lebanon, and also what we did to Iran. So basically, we're in a better stage, very miraculously. Okay, it's not a simple thing. On the other side, we lost civilians because of the attacks that the Iranian people did. But I don't know. This is a war, and this is what's happening, and hopefully we'll manage to defeat everything, all the wrong things that's happening. People here are with a very, I'll say, complicated feeling. On one side, we do understand how much we're in a better stage. On the other side, we are very, it's very hard for us too. The issue of the hostages, we still have 20 hostages alive in Gaza, and they disagree for any idea of how to do this, swamp and to give them back to us. They really disagree for everything. So we don't know yet what to do. With the help of God, we will manage also with this. We did brought back more than 200 people already, but still 20 people alive in Gaza, in the underneath the, inside the ground, 40, 80 meters inside the ground. And they are terrible people. It's not, they are terrorist people. They're not thinking in the normal way that we think. All of them. I don't know how it's going to, to get solved all these problems. We'll be okay. Let's learn something. Okay, I think that one of the most important things that we're trying to do in the last almost 2 years is to also to stay stable, I will say, with people that are joining us and people that are in the right side of history. And let's learn something. Let's not stay only with the problems, if it's okay. Yeah, good to see you also, Martina, everybody. Oh, Jacob, Collins, and Sandra. You in England now, Collins? You in England? Yes. You came back home.
England.
What?
We are back to England.
Excellent.
I'm back to England. I've been here now.
Okay, excellent. So let's learn something. The thing that I prepared tonight, I have also some, I will say, personal thoughts on how to bring the things to life. There's also a principle for how it's working. So let's go step by step. Let's learn something from the parasha. And what I want to teach is related with the things that we read in this parasha this weekend. It was Parshat Korach, it's called. And it's a big debate between, I will say, few of the people of Israel and Moses. Now, it's a good question when exactly it happened in the desert. We had 40 years there, and it's not so clear when it happened. But I don't care now, because we can learn there some principles for life today. And this is what I'm trying always to do, to show and to connect things that we are learning. Words of God are always live, okay? And this is also one of the differences that we have between learning from books and learning from someone, okay? Learning from books, it's like, when you read things inside the book, it's still, only letters that are being written down on the paper. But when you're learning from someone, you're learning from someone alive, okay, that is teaching you, speaking with you. The difference is like, if, for example, there is an idea that you have in your mind, you read in the book, and there are a lot of explanations to this idea. So you can discuss it with someone or with yourself, or try to understand it. But it's not the same. If someone will tell you that 3 kilometers ahead, you will find a diagram, a full one, that will explain all the questions that you have about what you're reading now, you will go there to understand it. Okay? So on the same level, someone is teaching those things in words, in life, so he's bringing things to life. So let's learn for a moment, with your permission. Let's share. You're going to see James also. Let's share the screen and let's see not this one, the other one. And let's see a bit from the parasha, from Korach. Okay, it's from Numbers. You see that I'm in the right place. Sorry, one less. 2 weeks. Here it is. Okay. Let's start. Let's start at the beginning, please.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're in Numbers chapter 17, verse 1. Korah, the son of Izhar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, took himself to one side, along with Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and On, the son of Peleth, descendants of Reuben. They confronted Moses together with 250 men from the children of Israel, chieftains of the congregation, representatives of the assembly, men of repute. They assembled against Moses and Aaron and said to them, "You take too much upon yourselves, for the entire congregation are all holy, and the Lord is in their midst. So why do you raise yourself above the Lord's assembly?"
And
Moses heard and he
fell-
fell on his face.
Okay. Now we need to understand exactly what is happening here and what is the debate of Korach and all of this, I will say, party, and what exactly they're asking for, demanding from Moses, and why Moses is so, I will say, shocked. So he's falling on his face. It's a terminology that he was so, I'll say, upset. upset. So we need to understand. For that, I want to remind for a moment who was the highest priest in the Israel people who went out from Egypt. It was Aaron, right? Aaron was the highest priest. While Aaron, who was the highest priest, he is the eldest son of the third one of Levitax, but not the first one of the third one. Okay. Also, the third one, we have 12 tribes. Okay. So we have the first one is Reuben. Second one is Shimon. The third one is Levitax. Okay. The Leviat. There you go. And also in Leviat, there are 3 kids. And Aaron is the eldest one of the second one, not of the first one. And now we see here, now look good because I'm going to be very exact. We have few kinds of people that are gathering together. One is Korach. Korach is also a Levitax. But he is the son, okay, of Yitzhar, who is the eldest one in Levitax. And what he is claiming against Moses, how come you are the king, Moses, and you gave your brother to become the high priest? I'm supposed to be before him. I'm more important than him. So this is Korach, and this is what he is aiming in this, I will say, argument. Okay? While with him, we have also Datan and Abiram, okay, that they are the kids of Eliab, and also On ben Pelet, who is, those are the kids of Reuben. Reuben is the first one, the firstborn. Reuben, also in Hebrew, Reuben is, say, I have a ben. Reu, see, I have a ben, a son. I have a son. He is the first one. And what do they want? They want something a bit different than Korach. They also want to become the most important people here. We are the kids of the firstborn baby, woman, so we are supposed to become the kings. Now let me ask a question, a very simple question, okay? Before we continue, continuing on. Let's say Moses is moving aside. What will happen between Korach and Datan and Abiram, okay, and Pelet? What will happen? They will start to have a fight between them, that each one of them is going to say, I'm supposed to be the first one. And they're starting to realize what's happening here. Each one of those people from this party, each one of them is claiming to be the most important thing, the most important person, the king, the high priest. So at this point of time, they're all against Moses and Aaron. But soon, if Moses and Aaron are going to move aside, they are willing to cut the throats one of each other. Each one of them is supposed to be the first one. And if you will go to the next verse, we will see that there are 250 more people that are coming here that are feeling for themselves, okay, that their representative assemblies are men of repute, they are most important. And they also think that they are better than Korach and better than Datan and Abiram. They are better than the others. At this point of time, all of those three, I will say, labors, three parties, each one of them have the same enemy, Moses and Aaron. So they are fighting against them. But at the moment that Moses and Aaron will move aside, they will fight one with each other, because each one of them thinks that he's supposed to be the first, the most important one. And now we can realize, and this is why Moses fell down. Moses understood on the spot what's happening. And for this, we need to see a very interesting state of the ethics of the fathers. Okay? Let me jump to the ethics of the fathers. Maybe I'll find it in Safari. I'll be most important, the most fastest of the way. The ethics of the fathers, there is a very interesting state, okay, that is showing, this. Hopefully, it will be also in English. Yes. 5. This. Let's see. Oh, you see? You see this one? This one. We're going to read it in English, okay? Let's do it in English. Where is the English here? Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Please read Mishnah number 17. Every dispute.
Okay, number 17. Every dispute that is for the sake of heaven will in the end endure, but one that is not for the sake of heaven will not endure. Which is the controversy that is for the sake of heaven? Such was the controversy of Hillel and Shammai. And which is the controversy that is not for the sake of heaven? Such was the controversy of Korah and all his congregation. This is so very important.
It is, but we need to understand that and want to learn it a bit, to peel it a bit so we'll have a more profound understanding of the situation. The first question that we have when we read this part, and before we start to understand what is the sake of heaven, what is not the sake of heaven, in a moment we're going to discuss this also. Okay? On one side, we bring Hillel and Shammai. Okay? If I want to give an example of dispute that is related, or that is for the sake of heaven, we're taking Hillel and Shammai. Hillel and Shammai were both of them very great sages in the beginning of the Second Temple Mount era. And they had a very big arguments. They had a lot, not a lot, they had 3. But by the way, they had only 3 arguments between them. But this is an example of an argument that is for the sake of heaven. We'll explain this in a moment, okay? But if I'm taking those 2, one of them, Hillel said one thing, and Shammai said just the opposite. And when Shammai said something, Hillel said just the opposite. Okay? We can't do both of those I will say, statements. We will do only or what Shammai said or what Hillel said. But still we say that both of them that were in those two sides are for the sake of heaven. We don't know what it is yet. In a moment we'll explain this. But if I'm going continuing on and I'm trying to understand the example that the Mishnah is giving us about a dispute that is not for the sake of heaven. Okay? What is a controversy that is not for the sake of heaven? And instead of writing that it's a controversy of Korach and Moses, it's writing down Korach and all of his congregation. Who is Korach and all of his congregation? We said it here. It's Datan, it's Abiram, it's Eliab, it's the 250 men. I thought that they have an argument with Moses. The answer is they didn't have any argument with Moses. They had mainly argument between themselves. At the beginning, it's hard to see because Moses is still alive. But when Moses will move aside, they are willing to cut the throats one of each other. Each one of them wants to become the king. There's only one king. They won't be able to be two kings. Okay, there's only one high priest. They won't be able to do two. It can't be. So we have here, look at the Mishnah here and how the Mishnah is very exact. It's not a controversy between Korach and Moses. And why? Because it's not something for the sake of heaven. To explain a bit the sake of heaven, you know what, before we go to this part, okay? The most important thing that we can learn from here is that we need to realize, I'm calling it the hidden motion, the hidden, I will say, part that is driving me to behave in the way that I'm behaving. Okay? Outside, Korach said to Moses, why are you very important? You know, we are all holy, like you. But the hidden side of what they did is that each one of them had, I would say, the ambition to become the king, to become the high priest. And we need to ask ourselves a lot of times, especially when we starting to discuss and argue with others, what exactly is the hidden, I will say, assumptions and the hidden and driven, I will say, what is driving me in behind the scenes? What is really driving me behind the scenes? And if I understand that, it will be much easier, first of all, to be honest and to say that, and then maybe to find a solution. I don't know if you know, but today we have, wow, I forgot how to say this in English, this word. There is I don't remember the name in English. Wow. There are a lot of times today that you can go to the courts and the judge will tell you, go outside and try to find solution between yourselves. And there is a way how to do this system, okay, all over the world. In the last 20 years, it's been, and most of the times what is being taught by the side, that people usually have a lot of other problems that they were very, got very dishonored from the one that is against them. And when you're solving this problem, everything is being fixed because it's not a question of money. A lot of time, it's not a question of money. It's a question of honor between people. Okay? So find exactly what is the hidden, I would say, ambition that is driving you, really driving you to this argument, to continue on with this argument. This is the first point that we can learn from here. And now I want to explain a bit what is the sake of heaven. What exactly is the meaning of sake of heaven? And the best way to show that, to explain that, I think is to give an example from work. Okay, I will give an example from the hospital. I don't know how many people here are sitting in this class, and for a moment I'm stopping the share. Okay, I don't know how many people here are sitting in the. Oh, it's probably all of you. You know nurses or you know doctors. You know people in the hospital. Think for a moment about the situation that every morning the main doctor and all of his assistants are walking inside the department from one patient to another patient to another patient to another patient. Now, we're speaking about 5, 7 people. Some of them are very important people. Some of them have already 30, 40, 50 years of examining patients, right? They have a lot of experience. And some of them are young people that in the beginning of their, way. All of them, I hope so, okay? All of them have one main aim in their minds. How to heal this patient. Okay? If one of them will start to think, I want that everybody will see how much I'm the most smartest thing. So I will give all sorts of ideas. And true, half true, semi-true, whatever it is. He might kill the patient. Right? So they all of them, even the one that is 40 years old, 45 years old, working as a doctor, he's already a professor in the university. They all have the humility of listening to others, and the main aim is not for them. It's for the sake of heaven. What is heaven in Hebrew? Shamayim in Hebrew is the word for a lot of the word there. Okay? Now, I don't know if you remember that there is in the children TV show, when they're trying to explain to the youngest kids, 2, 3, 4 years old, the word there is very confusing. What is there? There is there, But if I'm going there, so there is now here. It's very confusing. Think about this for a moment, that all of us have the vision, not here, but there, okay? So it's a sake of, in Hebrew, the word is heaven. We, all of us, have a vision there. This is the word heaven in Hebrew, Shamayim, Sham, there, a lot of there. So all of those doctors, okay, all of those professors that are gathering together, their, I will say, vision is not in themselves. The vision is there, the patient. They are all together with a lot of humility. The one who is already 45, 50 years working in this field, the other one who is a student in the beginning of his way or just went out from becoming a student, but they all, with humility, they know, they understand that they are not the issue. It's for the sake of the patient. It's for the sake of heaven. Okay? And when you work together, it could be in the hospital, it could be also in the high tech. It could be as teachers, in the school. When you all putting aside your, I will say, personal ambitions, okay, and you managing to work together for the sake of the idea of the why you've been hired, this is where you all work for the sake of heaven. So even if you have an argument, the argument is becoming much more obvious. It's not for me being in a special job or me getting, some star or whatever it is. I'm moving myself aside. I'm mainly for the idea, for the sake of heaven, of the main idea for all of us. I'm doing this, you're doing this, he's doing it. For those years that I'm working here, that I've been hired to work here, and we all have the same aim, so we're doing it for the sake of heaven. So maybe we have arguments, but the argument is not for me, and it's not for you. I truly trust you that the argument is for the good sake of the main idea that we're all together here, if you are the same. You're starting to realize what is the sake of heaven. The argument is not for endorsing me. The argument is for endorsing the main idea. It's also with you, it's also with you, all of us. We sit here together, okay? And the sake that we have in front of us is not for the Jews, it's not for the Latvian people, it's not for the North American people, it's for the sake of the whole people of the world. And we will find the great way of doing it. You're in your path, me in my path, each one of us in our own responsibility. No, I don't want to speak about the responsibility. This is another thing. But this is one of the things that the Hebrew people are saying. We are not on the way, or we're not standing ever on the way that everybody is supposed to become a Jewish person. No, not at all. Oh, anybody also didn't hear me? Maybe I will put it here for headphone. That's the moment. Maybe it will go quick.
Have you guys been hearing the rabbi? I've been getting very poor audio.
Or audio.
This is
not
a
bad.
very
It's a little muffled, but other than that, it's okay.
I think this lesson is so very important because I've been in talks with other groups in Israel, and one doctor's been given some instruction. Nonetheless, the point being, the question about the growth of Noahide communities is very important, and they were asking my feedback, and the point is, I know there's a lot of groups, but I wouldn't say Noahide communities around the planet. And the big problem is a question of, there is no technically Noahide leadership and no titles, and people have difficulty following because they always run into this dilemma that the rabbi is trying to share, like Korach's rebellion. Very, very important. I've seen, so many people try to establish communities, and at best they get groups of just a few people because there's always somebody stepping in who thinks that they should be, in charge somewhere, and it starts to cause some undermining, and that hinders community growth. And so I think what the rabbi is trying to share is so very important for community development, for sure.
Can you hear me now better?
Not better, but I can hear you.
Just a moment.
That's not bad.
Now you can hear me better? Now it's better?
A little bit.
Okay, so let's try like that. Okay, fair enough. Let's try. No, it's not working. Something here is not working. Oh, here it is. Now you can hear me better?
Excellent. Okay. So I'm going back. I will say it again in a few sentences. I will say, when we are all, in one place, and our main aim is not for our good sake, but it's for the main aim that we are being hired for, this is where we're doing it for the sake of heaven. It could be in the hospital, where the main, I will say, focus that we have is for the illness person, and we want to repair him, to heal him. It could be also, if I will go to the example of the Noahide community, the Hebrew nation never said along history that all the world's supposed to become Hebrew people, Jewish people, Not at all. Each community is supposed to stay with their uniqueness on one side. On the other side, there is some sort of a level of learning, of behaving that we will be able not only to take, but also to give. And this is where the mindset is supposed to be. And this is where we all working together in the sake of heaven. And Korach, okay, what we saw a few minutes ago in the verses is that they were mainly focusing on their interest, not on the interest of what I will say God said to do, okay? And when they were focused on their interest, this is where they lost it. And this is also another thing that we can take for ourselves for life, okay? And the question is, when I'm in part of a group, okay, when I'm doing things as part of a group in my work or in my family or, whatever it is, are we doing it because both sides, me and my partner, whoever it is, okay, we want to progress together an idea that is, we said it before, is there, okay? Together an idea that we want to progress and to achieve, or I'm trying to achieve something for my good sake. If it's only for my good sake, so it might be some sort of a, split situation that at this point of time, I have the same interest maybe with someone else, but it's not for the sake of heaven. It's not a true discussion. It's not a true, I will say, argument. So if the argument, I will give another example. Now it will be even clearer, okay? Let's say, for example, that the teenager is coming home. Your kid, your boy, your girl, whatever it is. The teenager is coming home and he is saying that there is something very important that he wants to do with his friends instead of going to school tomorrow. And it is very important, something about the sport, whatever it is. And you're starting an argument with your spouse, husband and wife. One is explaining how much it's important that he will go to school. And the other one is expressing how much it's important that he will go with his friends to this sport event, this sport activity that he was supposed to go. Now, both sides are right. Both sides have, I will say, some value in their argument. And the main question is, the parents that are discussing, arguing this argument, it's not for their good sake. It's for the sake of the son, of the kid, son, the girl, whatever it is, okay? So we say again, when the argument is for the good sake of their, in Hebrew, Shamaim, Sham, Arbem, a lot of their, okay, Shamaim. So it's Leshem Shamaim, it's for the sake of heaven, for the kid. At the end, they need to decide something. They need to decide this teenage will go to school or will go to the sport event. They need to decide. The teenage won't split to two, and half of him will go to school and half of him will go to the sport event. Okay? So at the end, we need to do something. And this is what's happening also with the arguments of our sages. Our sages arguing for the sake of heaven, for the idea of bringing good to this world. And they are showing all sorts of ideas of the same thing. I don't know if you the very interesting painting that we love to bring to the teenage and to show them about 5 people who are blind. And they are all coming next to an elephant. One is holding his nose, right, of the elephant. It's a long one. Because he is blind, touching him with his hands, and he's saying, this is a snake. The other one is holding the leg, and the legs of the elephant are big. I don't know if you saw once a real elephant, okay? And he's saying, this is not a snake. It's a tree. The other one is holding his nose, the nose of the elephant. He's saying, no, it's not the snake, it's not the tree. They're all, blind. It's a paper, it's a leaf. It's a big leaf, of the tree. And in this way, you can see, as a blind person, you can see only part of the elephant, and still you're saying a true thing, but it's only a partial thing of the elephant. And this is a lot of time how the sages of Israel, when they have an argument, for example, there's an argument, is a Noahide have the permission of keeping a full Shabbat, yes or no? Again, we are not pushing to do a full Shabbat. It's very complicated. Don't do it. But we do know that there are a few rabbis who are saying, even today, who are alive today, that you are allowed to keep a full Shabbat. Fair enough. There are other rabbis who are saying you're not allowed to keep a Shabbat as an Noahide. Fair enough, but it's still an argument for the sake of heaven. Okay, we need to respect the rabbis who are saying this, and we need to respect the rabbis who are saying that, because each one of them is looking on the elephant from a different angle. At the end, we need to do something. There are rabbis who are saying that you are allowed to keep Shabbat. There are rabbis who are saying not allowed to keep Shabbat. There are rabbis like us who are saying you are allowed to keep Shabbat. Don't do it. It's very complicated. Fair enough. Especially not if you live in Estonia with a community that is not with the Jewish people. Don't do it. It's crazy. It's nuts. Okay? Don't do it. When you come to Israel, I will give you here, a meal on Shabbat. You can see Shabbat in the Kotel, whatever, in the Western Wall, whatever it is. But don't keep a full Shabbat. But you're allowed to do it. Fair enough. So there are rabbis like that, but they're all in an argument for the sake of heaven. While, just like the argument of the parents for their son. Think with yourself, when you're going inside to an argument, is this for the sake of heaven or for the sake of yourself? Korach and his party went for the sake of themselves. Now, there's another thing that I wanted to say, but I saw that inside, and it's a long time that I didn't hear him. So in a moment, we're going to hear him. But James, you wanted to ask something? Please.
Thank you, Rabbi. I think Trump is Korach. I think he's I think he's struggling with himself, and the higher good would be is what the message of today is to get out of yourself, get away from yourself, step aside, get in the back seat, and work for the higher good. And it's probably why he's not getting to where he wants to be. But who's to say,
I will answer you, and then we'll give Rabbi Eshler to say. First of all, you're putting me in a very interesting situation. But let me answer for you something very important, okay? We have a saying in Israel that when you're pointing on someone, you know that, what did you say? Okay? We're pointing at someone. We have three fingers that we are pointing upon whom?
You.
Upon ourselves, right? Why I'm saying that? Instead of trying to understand Trump, it's very easy to judge others. Give this to God. God is judging the people. Let's judge ourselves. Okay? Even if you're learning something from Trump, learn it for ourselves. Let's think with ourselves. Before we're going to sleep tonight, I'm giving you a small exercise, okay? Think with yourself about an argument that you had today or maybe yesterday. Is it a true argument where you were really honest and the main aim that you had was for the sake of heaven, or something else, or something bigger than just yourself, or it was inside with yourself and you were not really honest with the one that you're arguing with? Don't put those questions on others. Try to define yourself. I think that this is very important. And again, I can start to define and to explain and to say a lot about others. But the truth is that usually when we are measuring others, it's like a mirror You know, usually when it's not a tricky issue about those three fingers. Usually our sages are saying that you see in others your problems. Interesting way of seeing things. Okay, so let's try not to discuss others. Let's discuss ourselves. And you don't need to say here now something on the internet in front of all of the world about yourself. You don't need to do it. You all have my email. If you want to send me something in a personal level, more than happy. It's okay. I'm trying to answer whatever it is. But let's try. One of the most important things that the words of God is teaching us is to fix ourselves. And this is a way that we will be able also to fix the world. So this is my answer. But thank you very much. It's very important points that we raised up because of this nice question. That now I'm going to shut down for a moment. Very happy to see Rabbi Shmuel with us. Long time no. See, I didn't saw him. I saw him, face to face. But please, Rabbi Shmuel.
Thank you very much. I certainly are from the sake of heaven speaking, not because I'm looking for any credit whatsoever, and associate with the important points that Rabbi has mentioned. I would be, though, a little bit more, I would say, a little bit more considerate towards Korach and his group and something to learn from that. I don't necessarily think, and I have plenty of sources that prove that his intention actually was predominantly positive. Sometimes a person gets to a dimension of thinking of his own promotion subconsciously and not consciously. In other words, I very much agreed with what you were saying, Rabbi, about when two parents have to do with a relationship with an adolescent and to figure out what is the right attitude to take. They definitely are both thinking for the sake of heaven. They may get to diametrically different results, but they're trying to get both to what is seeking of the truth. I have a feeling, don't forget that Korach was a first cousin of Moses and Aaron. They had the same grandfather, which is a first cousin by definition. He was really looking, honestly, for the well-being of the Jewish people at the time of the Hebrews. But it is true that when a person is seeking something which he authentically believes in, sometimes even subconsciously, people involved in some of their own personal agenda, not necessarily from their perspective to be too negative. I wasn't in the earlier part of the rabbi session. I don't know if you quoted from the Ethics of the Fathers. You may have done so with Pirkei Avot. But there, the text compares to a certain extent the story of Korach with two of the great houses of Torah, Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel. And when you talk about the difference between the sake of heaven and not for the sake of heaven, one of the commentaries discussed in detail, if Korach would have been, very much, how would I put it, self-centered and not looking for the well-being, how can you even start to compare him to the two great houses of study of Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel, which were amongst the most righteous people we ever had? So obviously, even he was a highly intellectual and charismatic individual, but he really thought that what he was doing is correct, but he felt that he had capability to do so. And there are people out there, I want to say to you, Rabbi, as well as to everybody else, there are people out there who really want to do a lot of good, but they have a feeling that they can do that better than others. And the question is, where is the boundary? And it's a very delicate but important thing. Where is the boundary from belief in seeking a wonderful idea, and where do you end your individual agenda involved? It's not always easy to determine, especially if you strongly believe in what you are doing. Even what James mentioned earlier, without getting into the particulars, I mean, I don't compare the U.S. president to Korach on the standard of Korach, what he was white, but I'm saying that there are people, let's say, if I would want to be positive in my feeling towards him, which is certainly possible, there is always the question between what a person wants to achieve and how much is he convinced, or she, that they would do it better than anybody else. The truth is, I imagine if I ever had, and I don't, as far as I know, if I ever had the stimulus to be a senior politician, I would have to try to prove to myself that I really believe that I'm something special, and to go in and sell that idea to a couple million other people that would believe the same. At the moment, I don't have, as far as I know, aspirations of this nature. Therefore, I don't feel a need to go and try to convince the entire world that I understand better than them. But on the other hand, I would definitely want to say that it is actually positive that a person wants to try, and I think the Rabbi, you meant that as well. A person should really want to do things which can be for the well-being of the world, even if a few people will think, or more than a few, that I have an agenda. Let them think so. As long as what I'm doing is a positive act and is promoting something which is of importance, I don't think that it's a bad thing that one has a little bit of self-confidence in bringing it forward. The only question is, how far do you take it? Lakshmiya, Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel, definitely both schools of thought were sure that they were choosing at that time the correct way to promote their students and the community. And the different opinions about this, as long as they're coming from a position of being genuine, it is actually a very positive thing to have a debate. Only thing is, in our community, as the Hebrews, we have maybe too many debates, and sometimes the other nations don't understand why we have such of a nature of that. But it's because we really believe in goals and ideals, and we are willing to put ourselves totally committed to it. The result being that it looks as if there's a lot of infighting. It's not really infighting. It's a real debate, a genuine one, on basic ideals and goals. And we generally want to improve the world, but we see how to improve it in 3 or 4 different ways. We have enough tolerance to accept the other people, what they feel, and give them a legality to say what they want. We'll do a lot better. I prefer to be modest, humble, and thoughtful in listening to what other people have to say. And Dan, I would like to say that sometimes I prefer hearing people I don't agree with than people that I do agree with, because the people that I don't agree with, I learn from them a lot more. One of the famous statements in the 4th chapter of Ethics of the Fathers, who is a wise person? One who learns from everybody. Not from the people who agree with me, because that's like I'm talking myself. I often read articles specifically of people I know I disagree with, try to learn something that they come up with that I think otherwise, and maybe it challenges me and makes me think a little bit forward. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they have a point. There's no crime in feeling that.
Right, Rabbi.
comments
But
from
yeah,
that?
what I've run into over the last number of years is there's always somebody that wants, like, since there's no technical prohibition for Noahides, like you get a lot of I don't want to say false witness. You get a lot of false witness. I mean, I've had so much accusation just for broadcasting on the Noahide World Center over the last 7-8 years. It's outright, flat out at personal attacks. I mean, from people that don't know me, but you can see they're just loaded with aspirations for something. And, it's like I try to learn, where are they coming from? But when it's malevolent in tone and approach, I mean, sometimes my default is to just get strong with it and push back. And I don't mean to be unkind in any way, but I'm not going to let somebody else's subjective viewpoint of kindness determine my actions when they're being hostile. It's just not who I am. And so standing strong, according to kindness, I've learned that that's the best approach. I mean, I look at rabbis as examples, or Israel as an example. I mean, with this skirmish with Iran, I mean, the reason they went in, I mean, is to they were pushed to show force, and it's the right thing to do. Don't let them get their nuclear capabilities, because they've got nothing but malevolent, hostile intent, and so how do you deal with it? So I've tried to learn and deal with situations, but I see this as a real stumbling block for Noahide communities around the planet. Like I was asked with an email from a doctor in Israel who runs an organization, what how many communities am I aware of? And I said, groups, yes, but communities, no. They're having difficulty flourishing because there's no direct prohibition against slander and so anybody that's developing maybe not according for heaven, like the rabbis shared, you get people try to, it's just within the nature of humanity to develop in a certain fashion, and I've seen too many potential communities stay relegated to groups solely because of backbiting and slander, because somebody's got aspirations, just like this chorus rebellion there. And I really appreciated Rabbi sharing out of the Torah on the matter. It really jumped out clear. They believed they had a point, but their point was not for the sake of heaven, and they may have had a valid point about their lineage, but that didn't make them God's person for the job. And I like the way he shared that analogy of in a hospital, who's more focused on the well-being of the people in the hospital and the overall care, rather than I've been involved in corporate business for a lot of years, and I have just seen so many backbiting tactics and office politics that it's putrid. And here in the West, you can't reel in somebody's personal aspirations. You can only stand up to it often. And I don't know. I see that there's a lot of, when you're dealing with Noahides, that there's no tool or if there's no diploma where somebody can say, here, I'm appointed or educated to do this. And so you get a lot of backbiting solely because of it, and you're dealing with the other side. I mean, it's just not an easy task to establish communities when there's no real structure for communities by any of the sages. You don't want to run the risk of establishing a separate religion, and I found that that's even an accusation. I mean, I've seen accepted Noahides that have been doing great work for a lot of years. They make one error in a single post, and next thing you know, they're being publicly slandered on social media by another person with aspiration. And it's torturous sometimes. And
you're 2000% right that you have no reason to treat animosity the way they do it, and you have all the right to be firm and strong about your genuine aspirations, like indicated earlier. Since I know your honesty, you are totally right in that. And when you mention about corporate business, that it's an obvious truth that when people are with a financial agenda, they don't believe at all in the sake of heaven. They believe in the sake of their own money. There was a great scholar in Judaism, which Rabbi Goldberg, I'm sure, is familiar with, said that if everybody would be interested in the well-being of the other person financially and of your own development spiritually, rather than vice versa, would be a much more healthy society. Unfortunately, usually it's the opposite.
Right, Rabbi.
That's
I've heard one other rabbi describe that as the difference between a contract and a covenant. And a contract is usually written up by somebody who wants to protect their interest, and a covenant kind of looks out for the interests of all parties involved. And the way that was explained, it just made a major difference for sure. But so often here in the West, people are contract minded and looking out for their own interest. And I find with Noahide growth, basically we can do whatever we can afford. And like I've gone as far as looking at several buildings to lease, and then I realized this is just going to cost me $30,000-$40,000 a year, and want to do it for the sake of heaven, but when there's no support for such, it makes it difficult. And so communities coalescing as B'nai Noach, standing without being an actual distinct religion is a very, very tough task. But I think there's material in this lesson today that helps people understand and should be able to develop more. A lot of people just cannot put their aspirations in check, and they get involved in an organization or a group, and then they try to take over, or they think they can do it better, kind of like Korah did. And it's focus for the sake of heaven. I love how the Pirkei Avos does state, what will endure, and hope people embrace that when your actions are for the sake of heaven, it has enduring impact for sure. And always good to have you join us, Rabbi Hirschler.
Thank you.
I need to finish with your permission. I need to go out from the lesson.
Okay.
But, hopefully next week we'll continue on.
Thank you very much.
And think about the questions that I asked today. Something for your life, continuous. And don't hesitate if you want to send me an email or something. And blessings. Have a great week ahead.
Thank you so much, Rabbi. Blessings to you.
Bye, everybody. Bye. Thank you.
Bye for now, Rabbi. Oh, and I think Rabbi Hirschler stepped out, so we're going to sign out for now, and we will be back next week, aiming for next week, and hopefully, I always get on early and try to make sure everything's connected. I've updated my computer to Windows 11, and it doesn't like my USB connections, and so my audio's clicking in and out, and I gotta reboot sometimes. I try to come on early and make sure I've got everything in order before I start to broadcast, so it gets out there for everybody else. And it's very, very difficult to get the rabbis to start a class and make sure to do a test even before the class starts so that everything's streaming properly. They're very, very, very busy people, shining light in the world, and it's just a joy to be with Rabbi Goldberg out of Jerusalem and hear the Torah as it's intended. And it's just, it's beautiful material, and hopefully you take away something today that will help you for the sake of heaven in your actions in your area, and it will coalesce into communities. So until next week, have a wonderful, wonderful week, everybody. Bye for now.